we must wage what I have called total war against public enemy number one in the United States, the problem of dangerous drugs.
Another brilliant Nixon idea. Since that time, the U.S. government has spent well over $1 trillion fighting it, and by all accounts, losing the war, despite years of public awareness campaigns like this one from the 1980s.
This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I still have a lot of questions. Anyway, 14 states have legalized medical marijuana, with 15 others considering similar laws. If pot were legal, it would pull in somewhere between $10 to $40 billion a year. With law enforcement locking up thousands every year on pot charges, a new movement is underway to legalize pot. It's called Just Say Now and includes a new website and a get out the vote effort to change marijuana laws. Bruce Fein is on the advisory board of Just Say Now, and that might surprise you. Bruce served as Associate Deputy Attorney General under President Ronald Reagan, and he's currently an attorney and the author of The American Empire Before the Fall. Bruce, why have you joined the effort to legalize marijuana?
Well, there's an obverse to the proverb: if it's not broken, don't fix it. But if it is broken, then you need to try to fix it. And I think at best you could describe the last 40 years and over $1 trillion as an incomplete success. We see the marijuana trade fueling the drug cartels in Mexico. The incidence of drugs really has not been dented. And what we need to do is keep the federal government involved with regard to policing the borders, but offering the states the opportunity to decide for themselves how to regulate, tax, and control marijuana use. It's a state's issue. The federal government shouldn't be involved in policing what states decide to do within their own borders. And it may well be the most effective remedy for denting those drug cartels and the takeover of scores of cities in the United States by thugs from Mexico. Because if the states have this regulatory power, they would be entitled to regulate how marijuana is produced, how it's distributed, to try to make certain it was through legal channels. Now, many will say, well, why are you dropping the line at marijuana? Then you're going to go to cocaine, and then you're going to go to heroin and all these other exotic drugs. Well, that's not a sensible argument. There are ability to draw lines. Just like we drew lines at one time about alcohol, you can draw lines at marijuana and don't have to go further. You can draw a line at same-sex marriage and not go to polygamy. And we think that after 40 years of a spectacular failure and over $1 trillion, it's time to let the states experiment with their own controls, learn from that basis, and end what I consider squandering federal resources on things that ought to be devoted to more national security issues.
Bruce, your position, legalizing marijuana, isn't it actually deeply conservative because it's getting the government out of our lives and stop wasting billions of dollars?
Well, it's in the same sense that repealing prohibition was conservative as well. It got the government out of the lives, even perhaps scrutinizing the use of wine as part of the sacraments and things of that sort, even if there was an exception in the Prohibition Amendment. But certainly it's trying to scale back the role, the size of the federal government to a proper scope and limit it to what its constitutional duties and obligations are. And it's going to yield, I think, a vastly improved landscape than what we've got at present, where you have states trying to experiment, the federal government making it criminal anyway, and there being a total twilight zone with regard to the effort to try to find a regulatory regime that improves on the disaster of the current situation.
Yep, Bruce Fein, an excellent argument and a conservative argument. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so what's my take on this? War on drugs? Are you kidding me? By the way, what was the last nonsense war we won? War on terror? We're supposed to stop all terror attacks for whatever reason in whatever country forever? Yeah, how's that coming along for us? How about the war on poverty? How about the war on alcohol? Remember that war was called Prohibition. How'd that work out for us? Other than being an unmitigated disaster and completely undoable, kind of like our war on drugs, it also created mobsters like Al Capone and the other Chicago gangs. Sound familiar? Instead of Chicago gangs, we now have Chicano gangs. I think we need to end the war on drugs and at the very least legalize marijuana, not just because the war doesn't work in stopping the flow of drugs, not just because it creates even more users, not because it wastes a tremendous amount of money, but mainly, although for all those reasons too, but mainly because of the gang violence. 25,000 people have been killed in Mexico over the last 3 years in the drug wars. It's an unconscionable number. If you make it legal, you put the gangs out of business. for everybody.